Right. Good morning, guys. Today our topic is today our the third session regarding the basic link mechanism from kinematics of machinery. Today we are dealing with the inversion mechanism. Actually, inversion mechanism ante enti, how many types of different inversion of mechanisms we'll see. Before going to inversion of mechanism, first అసలు mechanism అంటే ఏంటో చూసిన తర్వాత we'll go for inversion of mechanism. Mechanism is something which obviously will have links, pairs, chains, which you already done there. But exactly what is this mechanism is at least one link of the total machine should be fixed. So by fixing at least one link of a machine, we define it as a mechanism. Then how comes this? What is this inversion of mechanism? Is changing this fixed link to different links. That means, take an example. If you have a 4-bar mechanism, in a case you have a first link to be fixed. In the next case, you made the second link fixed. In the next, you made the third link fixed, and next you made the fourth link fixed. So you are changing the fixed link to one to another. So by that you are examining or you're studying different mechanisms by changing the fixed link. This is known as inversion of mechanism. Mechanism is something we know that you have some fixed link. That is okay, right? When one link is fixed in a kinematic chain, it is defined as mechanism. Well and good. But if in these mechanisms, we are changing the fixed link. That means as the number of links in a kinematic chain by fixing, that means you can obtain the number of links in a kinematic chain by fixing in turn different links in a kinematic chain. That means you are changing different links in the kinematic chain as fixed one. This method is defined as inversion of mechanism, right? Sorry. So now we are going to find how this inversion takes place and how we can change the fixed link from one to other, right? In this, we have different types to study, and among that, we are going to see the different types of kinematic chains. How many types we have this kinematic chain? We are usually classified that into some important three things. The first one is 4-bar chain, or we also call it as quadratic cyclic chain. The second is our single slider crank mechanism. The third one is double slider crank chain mechanism. In all these, these consists of four lower pairs. We have four lower pairs. Already we classified these pairs into different things. Usually depending on the contact, we divide it as lower pair and higher pair. Lower pair is something which you have surface contact. Higher pair is something which you have point or line contact. So in all the three classifications of kinematic chain, we have four lower pairs, each pair being sliding or turning pair. Right? To form a pair, we need two links. Right? One link can form two pairs. Right? So if you have one pair, there might be two links there, and each pair can be either sliding or turning. Okay. Now the three important classifications of or types of kinematic chains here we are done is 4-bar chain mechanism, single slider crank chain mechanism, double slider crank chain mechanism. First we'll see what is this 4-bar chain mechanism. As the name itself is defining it as, here we are having four links. In the diagram itself you can see we are having four links. The first one, second one, third one, and the fourth one. Right? To form a 4-bar chain mechanism or to have a relative motion between them, అంటే ఒక లింక్ మూవ్ అవుతున్నప్పుడు దాంతో పాటు ఇంకో లింక్ రిలేటివ్ గా మూవ్ అవ్వాలి అంటే we need to satisfy a law called Grahoff's law. This Grahoff's law is key for the relative motion between them. What is this Grahoff's law is? You have four links there, right? One of which can be the shortest one and one can be the longest one. అంటే నాలుగిట్లో ఒకటి షార్టెస్ట్ ఉంటుంది, ఇంకోటి లాంగెస్ట్ ఉంటుంది. ఆ రెండు యాడ్ చేయండి. That the sum of the shortest and the longest length should be greater than the sum of remaining two links. అంటే నాలుగు links లో shortest one, లాంగెస్ట్ ది రెండు కూడా మనం యాడ్ చేస్తే వచ్చిన వాల్యూ షుడ్ బి గ్రేటర్ దాన్ ద సమ్ ఆఫ్ రిమైనింగ్ టూ లింక్స్. దాన్ని గ్రాహోఫ్స్ లా అంటాం. ఇఫ్ వీఆర్ సాటిస్ఫైయింగ్ దట్ గ్రాహోఫ్స్ లా, then there is some relative motion between the chain mechanism and define చేయొచ్చు. So here we are going for 4-bar chain mechanism. So you have 4 bars and you are satisfying our Grahoff's law. Assume it you satisfied Grahoff's law. Here you have four turning pairs. One at A is a turning pair because you have two links from A. B is a turning pair, C is a turning pair, and you also have D is a turning pair. If you see, we define this AB as a fixed link because it is fixed. We are talking about inversion of mechanism. So mechanism is something which you fixed a link here. We are fixing, right, sorry, right, we are talking about the four bar chair mechanism. Here we have four links and one of which is fixed, that is AB, which we are fixed here, and we explained that what is Grahoff's law. Grahoff's ante you have four links, నాలుగు links ఉన్నాయి, one being the shortest one being the longest one. ఆ రెండు యాడ్ చేస్తే that value should be greater than the remaining two links addition. దాన్ని Grahoff's law అంటాం. So to satisfy Grahoff's law is very important for any mechanism to obtain the relative motion. If you see the mechanism, what is actually happening in the mechanism is you have four links there or four pairs of turning pairs. A is a pair, B is a pair, C is a pair, and D is a pair. Here AB is something which we call fixed one. This AD is our crank, which is making one complete revolution. If you are not letting our crank to make a complete revolution, there is no meaning of the relative motion. So our crank should definitely maintain one complete revolution. It should turn in a complete revolution. Then only we can say that the body can have some relative motion. So here this AB is being our fixed link, this AD is our crank, and this BC is our liver. That means the motion which is transmitting. The liver is something by which you can transmit motion from our crank to some other part. In the middle part, which is our DC, is something we can call it as some connecting thing or some follower or something because it is connected to the crank. So these are the four links in the four bar chair mechanism, in which one of the link is fixed, which is AB. I'm again explaining you that here the basic concept is it should make at least one complete revolution. The mechanism which in which no link makes one complete revolution will not be usable. That means at least one link should at least make one revolution. If it is not making one complete revolution, it will be not usable for other relative motion. So here we have four links and which are satisfying Grahoff's law as mentioned. In these three links, one of the link is our crank or driver. In the example, we know that the crank is our AD, and the other link, the link for AD is our crank, and the link BC is our lever or rocker or a follower, and CD is something which is connecting these two, which is a connecting rod, and the fixed link AB is defined as frame. So here we have four things. One is frame, the fixed one is a crank AD, one is lever, which is BC, and the connecting one is known as connecting rod, which is CD. This is exactly how a four bar chair mechanism works. Now the point is we understood what is a four bar chair mechanism. Now we should go how we should inverse this. The inversion of a four bar chair mechanism. What we explained, what is inversion? You change the fixed link. To find the number of links, we are changing the intern of a fixed link, and by then you will define what is a how different mechanisms you can find. So inversion of four bar chair mechanism. That means you have here four links for sure, but in these four links you are changing the frame, the fixed link part. The first one is beam engine or a crank lever mechanism. By the diagram itself, it is very adamant that you can easily find it. This is the beam engine. It is very easy to define. Here this is our crank, this is our pair. A is a turning pair, or with respect to A, the crank or the link to here will rotate in this direction. It is rotating, right? At D is a pair. Here you will have some sliding motion. It will slide, right? Or it will what we say, it will oscillate in this way. You can see some oscillation here at point D, right? And at E, we having a piston cylinder arrangement. Here you have some reciprocating motion. So the total number of links we are having is four here. One being obviously the frame, which is fixed one, and the second one is crank, and the third one is which is connecting the fourth and the second. Fourth one is our link four is our this what we say, the liver part. So as I mentioned in the four bar chart mechanism, we have four things. Frame, which is fixed, you can see at link 1. Crank, which should make at least one revolution, you can see at the link 2. Third one is the connecting one, which is connecting the crank and the lever. So third one is our BC. C or CDE is our fourth link, which is our lever. So main concept of this beam engine is to have rotary motion to reciprocating motion, because you can see your crank is rotating. So by then the piston and cylinder having some reciprocating motion. So beam engine main objective is to have rotary motion being converted to reciprocating motion. The next one is our coupling rod of a locomotive. This is the second inversion four-bar mechanism, coupling rod of a locomotive. We also know it as a double crank mechanism. What exactly happens in this, we'll see. But the diagram is adamant again to explain what exactly is happening here. You have two cranks here. That means you have two types of two cranks here, because the link 4, which is AD, and the link 2, which is BC, or something which rotates. See, these two will rotate in this way. So by that, if these two are rotating in this way, the motion will be in the forward direction. So the link 1 here is a fixed one, and link 3 here is our lever, right? You have a crank, you have two cranks here which are rotating. Link 1 is fixed one, and link 3 is a lever which will have some forward motion in this way. Okay, this is our forward motion happening there. What main objective of coupling motor? Whereas for beam engine, we said that main motto is to convert the rotary motion to the reciprocating motion. Whereas here, the main motto is to convert the rotary motion of one place to one other place. That means if you have a wheel here, you're having some AD, some crank, you have a rotation. You're converting these, you're not converting, you are transmitting this rotary motion to one place to another place, from B to from AD to BC. That is what exactly happening here, and these two links should have same links. AD and BC should have same links. So by that you will have same angular velocity and things. So you can transmit the equal amount of motion to them, and that is our coupling rod of locomotive. Next one, it's a Watt's indicator diagram, or a double lever mechanism. We'll see from the diagram what exactly happening in a Watt's indicator mechanism. Here you have also see this is a 4-bar cell inversion mechanism. So obviously you have four links. The first one, the dotted lines here. Please don't get confused to the diagram. The dotted lines here explains the motion, and the thick lines will explain the actual position of the board, actual position of the mechanism. Here, if you see, the link 1 is here. Okay, the link 1 there, which fixed link is at A is our fixed link, and our length A, and our link AC. So this is A and this is C, and link CE. So this is our link CE, and you also have a link which is BFD, right? A is a fixed link. Again, I'm explaining in the diagram. Please see, A is our fixed link, AC is a one link, CE is other link, and BFD is another link. How can BFD can be linked is because BF and FD are considered as one form of a link, because they don't have relative motions between them. You cannot consider F as a link and BF and FD as separate one, because BFD on a whole is having one motion. BF and FD are not having separate relative motions. So BFD itself is considered as one link. So you have four links here. What here it is happening is at F, if you see, there is something which is connected to at F. There is something which is connected to this plunger or some cylinder. You have piston cylinder arrangement. If what is happening here is the displacement of the link. That means if this BFD link is having some displacement which is directly proportional to the piston arrangement. That means if if our BSD is having some BFD link is having some displacement, that means this BFD link is having some displacement and it is moving. This is our BFD and it is moving in some way. I think you can feel, right? B and D are moving apart from each other. So obviously the piston will move upwards. So thereby you will have some pressure there. That means the displacement, how much the BFD link is having is directly proportional to the pressure applied on the cylinder, right? This is what our what indicator diagram is. We are done with our beam engine. We are done with our coupling rod of locomotive. We are done with Watt's indicator. The next in a single slider crank chain mechanism. So we are completed the 4-bar chain mechanism and the inversions of 4-bar chain mechanism. We are going to single slider crank chain mechanism. Single slider crank chain mechanism is very simple, similar to our reciprocating engine, which we are very familiar, which I already explained to you, but we'll see what's exactly happening. Here also you have 4 links. The first link is something which is frame, which is fixed. The second one is our crank, which is rotating, and the third one is our connecting rod, which is connecting the link and the lever. Here the lever is some crosshead. Here the crosshead is connected to the piston. So if you see, link 1 and 2 are connected here. Link 2 and 3 are connected here. Link 3 and 4 are connected, and link 4 and 1 are connected. If you see, link 1 and 2 are having some turning pairs. So see, this is some turning pair. Link 1 and 2 are having some turning pair. The same way, link 2 and 3 are also having some turning pair. The same way, link 3 and 4 also having some turning pair. But link 4 and 1 are having sliding pair, because the piston or the crosshead link will slide. Remaining all will rotate. So they are having some turning pairs. But our piston and cylinder arrangement in the link 4 will obviously slide. So it is having some sliding link there. This is what our slider chain mechanism. Now we'll see the inversions of the sliding chain mechanism actually. How many different types of inversions we can make. And the first one in the inversion of a slider crank chain mechanism is our pendulum pump. We also know it as some bull engine. What happens in a pendulum pump? You know what is a pendulum, right? Pendulum is something which you have an oscillating motion. So by then you when you are defining some pendulum, you define it as you will have a definite amount of angular velocity at every point of time. At any instant, you'll definitely have the same amount of angular velocity. That's what we define as pendulum. So the exactly name will define here. What exactly happening here in the pendulum pump is, again you have links here. The first link is our piston rod. So this is our piston rod, and the second link is our crank, which obviously makes some revolution there or rotation. And the link 3 is our connecting rod, which is connecting the crank 2 with the cylinder. Link 4 is a cylinder. You have 2 cylinders, so we define it as link 4, which are ideal. So we are not referring link 5, the second cylinder, as link 5. So what is happening in the diagram itself, it is very evident that our link 2 is starts rotating. So it starts rotating. So by that, the piston rod, which is the link 1, starts reciprocating, right? From if it starts moving, if it starts rotating, the piston starts reciprocating from up and up, down, up, down, up, down. This is what happened. So link 1 is our piston rod, link 2 is our crank, link 3 is our connecting rod, which is connecting the crank and the cylinder. Link 4 is our cylinder thing. Okay, this is a pendulum engine or a simple bull engine. We are again defining pendulum here, referring to you definitely have same angular velocity at any instant of time. The next one is oscillating cylinder engine. What happens here in oscillating cylinder engine? We'll see. And this is also a type of inversion mechanism for a single slider chain mechanism. This is our oscillating mechanism. The links what which are having here is you have a piston rod at link 1. You have a crank at link 2, which rotates obviously. You have a connecting rod, which is also a container, but which is fixed here. You have some piston chain arrangement at 4. 4 links. We are done with the 4 links. So what happening is your link 2 is rotating. That means the crank is rotating, and the piston here, the link 1 will start to move in this direction, and obviously the cylinder piston arrangement will reciprocate in 2 direction. Once the piston or the crank comes to the original position, again the piston will move backwards, and flow motion will be happen at the piston rod. This is what a simple oscillating engine takes place. What's the exact difference between the pendulum or oscillating engine is? In the pendulum type engine, sometimes there is no need to have a complete revolution or a complete rotation, because pendulums don't complete a complete rotation, But here for an oscillating engine, you should definitely have a complete revolution. But in the 4-bar chain mechanism, we defined it as any mechanism with no link having one complete revolution is useless. But you can take pendulum as some exception, because in the pendulum engine, sometimes you don't have a complete revolution, but in oscillating, you'll definitely have some revolution. The next one is rotary internal combustion engine. This is very important one. Here you have 7 cylinders. It consists of 7 cylinders in one plane. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? 7 cylinders means you don't consider 7 cylinders as 7 different things. What are the links here? You're considering cylinder as one link. So 7 cylinders are simple, single link one. The link 2 is our fixed crank, which is here. So this is our fixed crank. If you see, this is a fixed crank. That means the rotation of the total engine is fixed at that point. Okay. And the third one is our piston. You have 7 cylinders, so you have 7 pistons, but every piston is just link 3. And the next one is connecting rod. Connecting rod is something which you connecting the piston and the fixed crank which you are defining. So if you see what is happening here, the fixed crank starts moving in different directions. That means it will move in this direction, it will move in this direction, it will move in this direction, it will move in this direction. If it is moving in one direction, see if it is moving in this direction, the piston here starts compressing because it is moving towards it. But the pistons which are in the opposite side of the direction will expand. I think you are getting right. Piston, if piston is the fixed crank is moving in this direction, the piston here will start compressing. But the pistons in the opposite direction, see these pistons will expand because they are moving away. Take it in opposite way. If the piston is moving in this direction, the piston here will start compressing. But the pistons which are in the opposite direction will start to expand because they are moving in the opposite direction of the motion. This is what exactly our rotary internal combustion engine is, right? Next, two very important topics which are left with was slaughter mechanisms and your Whitworth quick return mechanisms. With quick return mechanisms and Whitworth mechanisms are two other very important things which we'll see in the next class.